The Z-20 helicopter is frequently cited in Chinese state media as a symbol of military modernization and domestic innovation. However, from a critical Western perspective, it reflects a pattern of behavior deeply rooted in imitation, state-managed propaganda, and performance exaggeration rather than evidence-based advancement. The helicopter's promotion within China does not align with the level of transparency, testing, or combat validation that would typically accompany a truly groundbreaking platform in global defense circles. As such, the Z-20 is increasingly seen not as a technological achievement, but as a state-sponsored narrative tool. Fundamentally, the Z-20 is believed to be the product of reverse engineering. Its close resemblance to the American Black Hawk is not merely superficial, it follows the same general airframe layout, rotor configuration, and utility mission profile. This is not surprising given China's history of acquiring foreign platforms and attempting to reproduce them domestically without licensing or cooperation. In this case, China imported American-made helicopters in the 1980s, under exceptional circumstances, during a brief thaw in U.S.-China military relations. These aircraft, originally civilian variants, appear to have served as the technical baseline for what would eventually become the Z-20. From a Western point of view, this is less a story of innovation and more a story of unoriginal duplication. China's domestic messaging around the Z-20 presents it as a platform superior to its Western equivalents, frequently citing unspecified advancements in electronics, flight control systems, and survivability. These claims, however, are disseminated exclusively through government-controlled media outlets, with no external verification or technical documentation to support them. In open societies, performance claims of military equipment are often accompanied by independently verifiable tests, trial data, and expert assessments. In the case of the Z-20, there is no such evidence. The Chinese state's tight grip on information means that all knowledge about the platform is filtered through political objectives, rather than assessed on technical merit. More troubling for analysts is the mismatch between the Z-20's intended operational role and its actual deployment record. The helicopter has been marketed domestically as a high-altitude, all-weather utility asset suitable for transport, rescue, and tactical support missions. Yet, during major real-world events, such as natural disasters in mountainous regions, the Z-20 has been conspicuously absent. Instead, older, foreign-designed helicopters have been deployed, raising doubts about whether the Z-20 is capable of fulfilling its advertised role or whether the program is still struggling with reliability, safety, or logistical issues. In the defense world, absence from operational environments, especially those that match a platform's supposed strengths, is often more telling than any promotional material. Production scale is another issue often overlooked in state media but closely watched by outside analysts. For years, the Z-20 has been shown in limited numbers during military parades and exercises, but there is little indication that the platform has been mass-produced or integrated across all branches of the armed forces. If the helicopter were truly as capable and efficient as claimed, a logical assumption would be rapid scaling and widespread deployment. That has not happened, which suggests that either technical hurdles remain unresolved or the platform has not lived up to internal performance expectations. Either way, this undercuts the credibility of state messaging, which portrays the Z-20 as an already mature, high-performing system. The underlying issue, from a Western point of view, is that China's defense development model is deeply embedded in political theater. Platforms like the Z-20 are showcased less for what they can do and more for what they symbolize: national pride, technological self-sufficiency, and parity with global military powers. In this context, accuracy and verification take a back seat to narrative control. The Z-20 is not evaluated based on combat testing, interoperability, or life cycle cost. It is judged on how well it fits the broader story China wants to tell about its military progress. In such a system, technical failures or development delays are never publicly acknowledged, and all reports of success are amplified regardless of the underlying reality. This approach raises serious concerns about the authenticity of the Z-20's capabilities. Without access to independent assessments, international collaboration, or transparent defense audits, there is no meaningful way to verify whether the helicopter performs as claimed. Moreover, the Chinese government's track record of controlling information and punishing internal dissent further discourages accurate reporting. Engineers, pilots, or military officials who might raise concerns about technical flaws or limitations are unlikely to do so publicly or even internally without facing serious consequences. This culture of suppression creates an environment where only success stories are allowed to circulate, regardless of their authenticity. In the broader context of defense development, this reliance on perception rather than performance creates a false image of progress. Western observers note that China tends to roll out new platforms quickly and in flashy ways, emphasizing appearances, graphics, slogans, and state-sponsored media coverage, before the systems have undergone the rigorous testing, modular upgrades, and iterative refinement that characterize successful defense programs in more transparent countries. The Z-20 fits this pattern precisely, introduced with great fanfare, surrounded by dramatic claims of superiority, but with minimal real-world evidence of effectiveness, maturity, or reliability. Even among pro-China observers, the lack of detailed technical breakdowns and operational performance records is a recurring concern. Genuine technological advancement depends not just on the ability to copy designs but on the ability to improve upon them, adapt them to real-world needs, and support them with scalable infrastructure. There is little indication that the Z-20 has reached that level. If the helicopter were truly groundbreaking, it would not need to be compared so directly to a decades-old foreign model. Its utility would be evident in its widespread, confident use across all mission types, which is not the case. Ultimately, from a Western critical standpoint, the Z-20 represents a facade, a product developed to serve propaganda objectives, sustain the illusion of technological parity, and reinforce internal legitimacy, rather than to fulfill its stated military role. Without transparency, without validation, and without accountability, platforms like the Z-20 risk becoming symbols of excess ambition rather than examples of actual capability. The longer the Chinese state avoids confronting or acknowledging these gaps, the more brittle and fragile their claims of military modernization begin to appear.